there's something that has always bothered me about the no true Scotsman fallacy. For those of you who don't know what it is, there's a link in the crotch bar. I could spend half the video explaining it in detail, but here's a brief summary. Here's the problem I have with it. It's clear that the two people are having a discussion about different things. Person A is talking about culture, while person B is talking about citizenship. Had person A started by saying something like, "No Scotsman worthy of the name puts sugar in his porridge," and I think it's pretty clear that's what he meant all along, we might not be having this conversation. But because of the phrasing, person B pedantically changes the topic to whether or not someone lives in Scotland and not whether they have adopted the culture. So person A's reply is essentially, yeah, that's not really what I was getting at here, which all along it wasn't. But then we say that person A is the one who's wrong, when really person B was unintentionally strawmanning person A's argument. And the thing is, person A might actually have a legitimate point. Take another example. I'm about to move to San Diego, still waiting for the bank to get its thumb out of its ass and send me the final paperwork. But for the last 20 years, I've lived in Seattle. Seattle has a reputation for rain, but really it mostly just drizzles here. Regardless, if one were to say that Seattleites don't use umbrellas, one would have a point. Generally speaking, when the sky is drooling, a Seattleite will either put on a hat, pull up their hood, or get wet. In fact, you can usually spot someone from out of town by their use of an umbrella. Oh, sure, you could point out people who've lived in Seattle for years, maybe even all their life, who use umbrellas, but they're still very much in the minority. They're an exception, because when someone says that Seattleites don't use umbrellas, they're talking about the culture. You point to a Seattleite who uses an umbrella, and the argument can be made that they haven't assimilated into the culture, that, regardless of what their driver's license or birth certificate says, they're not a true Seattleite, culturally speaking. They're not one of us. If you then try to claim that this is a no true Scotsman fallacy, what's really happened is that you've missed the point being made. It'd be like if someone tried to claim that they like Star Wars, they like Star Trek, and their favorite characters are Jar Jar Binks and Wesley Crusher. Most diehard sci-fi fans would gasp in horror and tell them that they're not a true Warsy or Trekkie. And culturally speaking, they'd be right, even if they're technically, pedantically wrong. They don't get it. They're not one of us. They're not worthy of the name.
What about the Ewoks? Eh? They were rubbish. You don't complain about them.
Yeah, but Jar Jar Binks makes the Ewoks look like fucking Shaft.
Now, if person A in our example was making a more technical argument instead of a cultural one, maybe that no religious dogma allows sex outside of marriage, and then person B points to one version or another of paganism that allows it, it follows that person A would definitely be wrong to claim that no true religion allows sex outside of marriage because, like them or hate them, pagan religions are religions, and some of them have dogma that allows, some even encourage, sex before marriage. Person A's argument was never about culture. It was about dogma, the written rules of the religion, and their rebuttal was very much that attempt to rescue themselves from an unsupportable refuted statement. And in that way, pointing out someone's no true Scotsman argument is very useful. But when the comment is about a culture and the minority who do not possess the traits of that majority, as is, I believe, the sugar and porridge example from which the fallacy gets its name, then I think it can, in fact, be justified as a valid argument. And so, as I said, that's always just kind of bugged me a little. Droids don't pull people's arms out of their sockets when their videos aren't rated. Bionic dances are known to do that.